Hey guys, we just got back from ghost hunting, I guess, and it was bad, bro. Like, it was no joke. The most scariest thing I've done in my entire life, and I've done some scary things. So, for today, I'm just gonna make a small vlog about what happened, and we're just gonna watch some YouTube on my TV. So, what first happened was we were just sitting around, watching 3 a.m. videos. And my aunt was like, hey, you want to go to a haunted park? And I was like, dope, let's do it. Without realizing it was dark outside. And this is the footage from her phone, her perspective. So, and there's like a lot of facts after we got chickened out from the yeah.
We'll take that out later.
Footage.
So, hey, what are we doing today?
So we were at the Baker Hotel here in a minute.
And they're so scared.
We were not of the Baker Hotel. We were not scared of that. We were scared of the park and the bridge. She took us to a haunted bridge, which not okay. But anyways, so my brother's in there editing his vlog, and yeah, I'm just sitting in here watching YouTube by myself like a lonely loner. No? No one cares? That's nice. That was the Zeus. And anyways, so we went to the Baker and we had so much fun there. There's so many histories about it, or like stories about the history of the Baker Hotel. So around a while ago, it was like 100 years ago. Yeah. Like 1880, I think. A woman had died there because she was because of her husband had cheated on her, I guess you would say. Anywho, so her husband had cheated on her and it was bad. She committed suicide. She jumped off of the building, which how many stories is the Baker Hotel?
No. I don't know. It's something we'll need to research. It has at least 13.
13?
Yeah, I know I've been on the 13th floor. I know it has at least 13, but I'm not sure. Honestly, I think that
She's looking it up right now on how many stories there is. And didn't that woman jump off from the top?
Yeah.
Well, the woman jumped
out of the room, I believe.
So, Raven, you know how to edit. You're editing right now?
No, I'm vlogging.
Oh, what's up? That's
it
3
has,
hours.
157
Rooms. 157 rooms. And how many flights or stories? We think it's 13 stories, just hold on. 14 stories, and the woman had a room at the top of the building on the 14th story, and her husband, had cheated on her, so she jumped. People say she fell, but it's like, why would she fall out of did she fall off the terrace or did she jump out of the window?
So it says that it was opened in 1929,
1929.
2 weeks after the Great Stock Market crash. Rising 14 floors, the Baker Hotel was the first skyscraper built outside of a major metropolitan area, costing $1.2 million to build. The hotel was developed by Texas entrepreneur T.B. Baker and featured progressive hotel amenities, including the first Olympic-sized hotel swimming pool, air conditioning, circulating ice water for the guest rooms, automatic light controls to turn off lights when guests leave the room and lock their doors, and valet doors for dry cleaning. Doing well throughout the Great Depression, the Baker hosted many celebrity music performers such as Lawrence Welk, Jack Amlong, Herbie K, Guy Lombardo, Mary Martin, and Paul Whiteman, and a long list of legendary guests including Lyndon Johnson, Pat Boone, Jack Dempsey, Marlene Dietrich, Dale Evans, Clark Gable, Judy Garland, Will Rogers, Roy Rogers, Elliot Roosevelt, the Three Stooges, and Bonnie and Clyde.
Elliot Roosevelt?
Yeah.
Well, the woman, she,
In a second,
I guess.
I want y'all to look up on your phones our first vlog.
What is it called?
Our first vlog.
Okay, so Baker Hotel deaths.
Well, the woman.
Okay, ready? This woman on the 7th floor.
7th floor.
The stories of ghosts and hauntings began in Baker long before it ever closed. A porter who worked there during the 1950s and 60s was the first to witness the ghost of the woman on the 7th floor. She was possibly the mistress of the hotel manager.
So she was already
She
dead
was
at
the
this
mistress.
moment.
She was the mistress, not his wife. Distraught from the affair, she jumped to her death from the top of the building. The
14th
year of the
floor.
incident has not been verified, but the room she stayed in, apparently quite comfortably, was a suite on the southeast corner of the 7th floor. Many have reported smelling her perfume, and her spirit is said to be quite flirtatious with men she may fancy. Recently, a woman who worked as a maid in the hotel reported that on several occasions she found glasses in the room with red lipstick stain on the rims. This took place at times when no one was staying in the room. Jane Cotrette, who is assisted by Ronnie Walker, now managed the building. Ronnie manages tours of the building on weekends when time allows and is quite knowledgeable on the history of the hotel, as well as reports of a few sightings of disembodied guests. Ronnie reported one night he was near the main lobby on the 1st floor when he heard a distinct sound of a woman in high heels walking across the lobby. Thinking the footsteps to be those of Jane Cotrette, he yelled out her name. However, the footsteps faded away, and upon further inspection, Ronnie found himself all alone. Later, he discovered that Jane had not even been in the building that day. On another occasion, Ronnie reported being on the 7th floor resetting an electrical breaker to the Christmas light, which continuously tripped every night during display. As he was inspecting the fuse box, attempting to locate the breaker switch, he heard the footsteps of an unseen person walking up to his left, quietly, as if not to bother him. A bit startled, he turned to look and saw no one. Ronnie spoke to the possible ghost and assured them he meant no harm. After that, the lights never tripped off again. Another incident occurred during a tour of the hotel by a group of World War II veterans and their spouses. As the group entered the Brazos room on the 1st floor, which is the main dining room and dance area, a couple suddenly stopped. The woman looked at her husband and asked, "Do you hear that?" He replied, "Why, I certainly do." About that time, several other people in the group began to hear sounds of dishes and silverware clanking, as well as people talking with orchestra music in the background. Most of the people there reported this event. It has never happened before nor since, according to the source, but the witnesses were sure they were experiencing the ghostly echoes of a time long past.
So the woman did jump off the top of the building because of the affair.
But she wasn't the one that was married to him. She was the mistress. She was sad because I don't think he wanted to leave his wife.
Mm.
Yeah. There's another one that says a young woman who worked at the local drive-through bank in the early 1990s reported that she and other tellers had their workstations facing the huge hotel. During slow times, they noticed hotel windows open on various floors. Later, they would notice these windows closed and others would be open. After a while, they began to take note and count which one are open and which one were closed. The pattern would always change. One of the girls told the others, "It must be the man who lives in the building and takes care of it." After that, the interest ceased and they stopped noticing. The strange thing is, no one has ever stayed at the Baker at any time since its closure in 1970. There never was a caretaker. So who is just opening and closing these windows?
It was probably that woman.
In the spring of 2000, I spoke with local minerals woman who claimed to be a psychic. She has wished to remain anonymous for fear of ridicule in such a small town, and I, for one, certainly understand. She told me ever since she was a young girl, she has had the ability to see spirits. She said she'd been in the Maker many times and had even managed a shop on the outside floor in the back early 1980s. She said the stories are true. The Baker is very haunted, but not like we think. Most ghosts didn't necessarily die at the Baker, but returned after death because the hotel represented a wonderful time in their lives. She went on to say that most of the spirits in the hotel do not want to be seen or heard, with the exception of a small child. A little boy, about 6 to 8 years old, was the only one to communicate with her. He told her he died in a hotel apartment in 1933 when his parents were seeking medicinal treatment for his leukemia. She reported a large, shaggy dog always accompanying the child. He also bounced a ball to get her attention. He was watched by an unknown older woman who was always near him. The psychic went on to tell me spirits don't necessarily look the age they were when they died. Some were employees of the building. Once she said, for reasons she doesn't understand, was a helicopter pilot who attended basic flight training at Fort Walters in 1960s. He was killed in a helicopter crash while at Fort Rucker, Alabama. He returned to the Baker with his body in the same traumatic states that results from the crash. So his ghost still looks like that.
It looks like what?
So most of the spirits there did not die there, just noticed that it was just a part of their lives and they had so much fun. I guess you'd be they loved it there.
There's another one that says, oh my goodness. With so many sightings and such landmark, it was time to see if any of it can be proven. In October 2000, 2 paranormal investigation teams, DFW Ghost Watchers from Dallas and Lone Star Spirits from Houston, were contacted to perform a full-scale investigation. With about $100,000 worth of high-tech scientific instrumentation, the team began a full-scale research mission on the Baker that took 3 visits to complete. Investigator Dusty Rainbow of DFW using a digital camera photographed hundreds of orbs. Orbs, according to some experts, are actual spirits of the dead. Orbs were photographed throughout the building, with the largest concentration being in the basement and on the 5th, 7th, and 14th floor. Dusty also captured an orb partially hidden behind a door, which she said was most unusual. She also captured what appeared to be 2 very distinct ectomist apparitions in the 14th floor ballroom. Another photographer was taking still shots with a 35mm camera at the same time and captured what appeared to be another ectomist above the first photographer. Another psychic who accompanied the team reported seeing an old woman in a wheelchair in the southeast corner of the ballroom who kept saying, "I can't do it, I can't do it." On one night, the 5th floor was the most active. Donna, the psychic, was with the group, felt hesitant and nauseous as she moved toward the west end of the 5th floor. She said somebody was trying to make the team sick so that they would leave. She refused to go any further in that direction. Later, a number of Lone Star spirits who visited the area began to choke and cough at the same spot, unaware of Donna's earlier experience. Isn't it crazy?
So there's a long history to the Baker, and it's just been in Manor Wells for a very, very long time. 2018 minus 1920, you said, when it opened?
1929, I think.
2018.
Oh, this looks crazy, Raven. It says, Donna was then drawn to a room on the north end of the 5th floor where she sensed a young woman making rustling sounds with her dress. Donna reported the young girl to be moving to and from, making sure her makeup was just right. She said the spirit would move around the men in the group and was especially attracted to a certain one. She went on to say that she sensed a man about to knock on the door to escort her to dance in the sky room. Another psychic named Wayne later joined the group on the 5th floor and confirmed Donna's finding. He added that he had picked up on disgust and discomfort on the west end and said the area was occupied by a large, disgusting man who wanted everybody to leave. Wayne said he found suffering and disease in the area. Woo! A time-lapse video camera was placed on the 1st floor Brazos room, and over a 4-hour period, various objects began moving. 151 objects, to be exact. The room had been closed off to the party, and entrance was not allowed by anyone living. The objects could have been dust motes reflecting light, but some were moving orbs. An audio of the basement elevator area captured the distinct sound of a man screaming in agony. A different group recorded the same sound on another investigation in 2001. It would have been difficult for anyone in the team to mimic the sound since the area had been locked to keep everyone out. One of the expedition members gets nauseous whenever she gets around haunted places. At the Baker, she was unable to stay more than a few minutes before she was forced to leave, extremely ill. In May 2001, 9 students from Weatherford High School spent a Saturday night in the hotel, not really putting much interest in the ghost stories. The group, of course, thought differently after their visit. Oh shit, they were on the 14th floor.
Oh my god.
And it says a picture taken shows them enveloped by hundreds of orbs, which they never actually saw. And then in another picture, there's a profile of a blonde woman's head. Nobody in the group had blonde hair, let alone long blonde hair. The picture was taken in a dark room. There's so much activity in the building, it may be one of the most haunted places in Texas, if not in the country. One psychic claimed to have counted at least 49 different spirits in the building. The investigations are not complete and currently being continued by these people. With so much paranormal activity, the Baker has become a hotspot for investigators. It's hopeful in that time more proof of the restless spirits will be documented. That's insane.
They say, like, if you bring, like, an animal with you, they can sense a ghost. So, and earlier we saw some people with their dog and their little boy at the Baker just checking it out, and their dog kept looking at the windows. Like, I was just looking at the dog. I wasn't looking at the people, I was looking at the dog, and the dog was looking at the windows. Like, so many windows at a time, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I'm pretty sure he was on the 3rd floor, and he looked at this specific window. All the windows were there, like, all the little things were there, and there was, like, this little, like, someone tried to, like, rub the dust off of it. but I didn't see anyone there. It was weird.
Okay, so one of the girls, or I guess one of the guys that stayed there is talking about it. Saying it's crazy. It's insane. That's crazy.
That's weird. I'm just gonna watch YouTube now.
Cartoons.
That is such a
Have y'all looked up
coincidence.
YouTube videos of the Baker Hotel?
I'm about to now.
Look up YouTube videos of Baker Hotel. Do it, do it, do it. Raven, do it, do it, do it.
I'm doing it.
Tank, leave her alone. Quit.
Chelsea.
Yeah. Death.
Ooh. Let's watch this documentary. That's an ad. Dumb ad. Okay, I skipped it. Bro, that's the bank.
The Baker Hotel opened in 1929 under the management of Theodore Brasher Baker and quickly became a thriving destination resort. Central to the hotel's success was the local spring water, as it was thought to have healing properties and attracted tourists in droves. Even the veins of the hotel ran cold with the mineral water, which was pumped into each of the 450 rooms.
Hey, Gage.
Eventually, with the advancement of modern medicine, the notions surrounding the therapeutic properties of mineral water faded away, as did the Baker Hotel. It shut its doors in 1972 and has sat wasting away ever since. Now, join us as we venture inside and discover what remains.
If you guys liked it, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. Thanks. Bye.